Hello and welcome to our weekly session of Think About It. Hey, Tinie.
Good morning, Kirsty. Doing okay?
Yeah, good. These are very quickly becoming my favourite part of the week.
Yes. Just a
so,
quick little chat, have a cup of
yeah,
coffee,
I
enjoy
know.
your sandwich if you're having one,
So for anyone that's just joining us or the first time joining us, we go live lunchtime every Thursday, all around empowered leadership discussions, different topics every week. And this is literally just a little micro snippet of how we can help and share and just raise awareness of different challenges we see from leaders and managers in the workplace to hopefully help you become a more empowered leader and manager. We also restream them on our podcast streaming, so you can get it on any Spotify or anywhere. And we also stream it to our YouTube channel. So if you want to go back and have a look at our older episodes, please feel free to do so. And these are very quickly becoming the most downloaded episodes of our podcast of all time, Tinie. So that's really cool. So that means they're landing with someone.
Yes, someone's listening.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. Okay, so let's start with today's topic. Let's get straight into it. So we're talking about communicating strategic intent today. I know this is one of your favorite topics, so I am going to let you lead a little bit on it.
Yeah.
But let's just start out. What do we even mean? For those sitting thinking, what are you even talking about? What are we talking about? What does strategic intent mean?
So, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there is a common phrase that everybody uses. The same applies to business. And when you're running a business as a leader, as the CEO, managing director, whatever your role is, from a strategic perspective, you know where you want to go at a high level. You want to beat your competitors. You want to be the best in the marketplace from a DNA that you're rolling out into the market, or a chemical nuance, or a face cream. You want to be the market leader in that space. But there's a strategic intent that sits behind that if you let everybody know what it is, we can all paddle together in that direction.
So really simply, it's the direction and the purpose and the plan that you've got to kind of get to whatever that big vision is. Yeah?
Yes, it's but letting everybody know, because
Yeah.
as a team, we can all get there collectively together with a larger amount of effort, with a collective orientation, rather than you as a leader walking away. Oh, guys, they don't even know what we're doing, but they don't know, it doesn't align to where it is we want to go. If you've had sentences like that go on in your head as a leader, let's talk about what's going on and how we can help you with that.
So it's being able to get there stronger, better, quicker, with everybody all going in the right direction.
All going in the right direction and feeling comfortable doing so, and being in a happy place at work, and looking forward to Mondays because I'm aligning what I do to what it is that we're trying to achieve as a business in the marketplace out there that we're working in.
Yeah, I love it. So now that we know what it is, what are the common challenges that people listening and tuning in might see in their organization, or they might be sitting thinking, gosh, yeah, it's great, but how do I, what are the challenges they see and how can they get over those?
So ambiguity, it's not clearly stated where we're going. I've got an idea of what he's saying or what she's saying, but I don't know how that applies to me in the finance department. I don't know how that applies to me in the customer relations department. It's not relating to me. So let me just crack on and do my stuff that I'm doing. It's not inspirational. We just want to make a million more widgets. It's not an inspirational strategic intent communicated. It feels that it's been forced upon us. There isn't a two-way exchange of the conversation that we're having, and the exchange of ideas, because having a different idea isn't being combative. It's just questioning the original idea, and let's see how we can actually align all of those things.
Yeah, you could even make it better, couldn't you?
You can make it better. But don't let your ego as the CEO or managing director get in your way. Listen with
Yeah.
intent.
Ego. That's a topic in itself. We should just do a whole session on ego. That would be a good idea. Let's just unpack that a little bit, because these are really important things and things we see all the time. So the lack of clarity, it's not really inspiring, and it's forced upon the team. So if we think about the lack of clarity, I think sometimes people don't think past the direct impact of their team. So if we think of kind of the leader, the CEO, the managing director, like they might be really bought into this. They might really understand it. But if they don't think how this is going to apply across the team, no matter how big or small that team is, it's being able to communicate that effectively, isn't it? That works with them. Like that example that you mentioned about how does it impact the finance team? Well, actually, if we kind of communicate it with clarity to everybody in the business, then I think there's a bit missing beforehand. Because what the challenge I see sometimes is the leader doesn't know it enough to communicate it clearly enough.
And that's where the piece of ambiguity comes in that I was speaking about, is that if you don't know it well enough, you can't state it clearly or succinctly enough.
Yeah.
We are moving into the top right-hand corner of the 4-quadrant strategic alignment, and we want to become the front runner in a marketing business, in a chemical business, in a industrial plant. What does that look like? What is it that we're actually going to be doing for that to become a truth for ourselves? So there's an aspirational discussion or aspirational statement, but bring it down to the people that are delivering the work for that to become a truth for you. So in the finance department, for instance, how are we aligning what it is we do, not only so that the profit margin increases, not only so that we are getting invoices out in time, not only that because we need to pay our invoices on time, we align ethically to the strategic intent of our business, because we do what we say we're going to do, because we want this business to be future proof and have sustainability and create a strong foundation financially for the managing director and the rest of the business to be able to have a 5-year plan, have a 10-year plan, have a 20-year plan. And so the finance department is a key role in that space, and aligning those things to them is critical.
And I know we're talking finance department, but this is all departments, right? This is sales, marketing, HR, like whatever it is. Or even if you have a small team and everyone wears multiple hats, everybody's important to get on that in that direction, right?
Yes. And I like to call it the golden thread. It's the I know the value that I have as a graduate coming into this business for the work that I'm doing, that aligns to my team, to my manager, and to the strategic intent of the business. So being able to clearly do that for ourselves enhances culture, creates happiness at work. I've got an intentional action that I'm taking to actually deliver on what it is that's the stated strategic intent, vision, mission, values, all of those things aligned. But unless they're communicated clearly, succinctly, are understood for the role of the graduate versus the role of the CFO, everybody needs to be aligned to that golden thread of an understanding of where it is you're going and the direction of travel.
And that golden thread starts before you've even employed someone, doesn't it? Like you're recruiting, you're onboarding, like who are you attracting, the kinds of people that you want in the business? Because the next point I'm going to come to is the second point you made, is around it's not inspiring enough. Some people might think, I'm not bothered if it's inspiring. I just want to come and do my job and I want to leave. But that there is your problem with having the right the wrong people in those spots, isn't it? Like, if you
Yes.
have these conversations and you communicate and your purpose and your vision and how you're going to get there before you've even employed somebody, you are more likely to get somebody who is bought into that purpose and vision, aren't you?
Yeah. And we introduced that in a previous organization, talking about the vision and what is that person's interpretation of what that vision is in their role, and bring that thought process to the discussion of the recruitment process. So it's the already starting with that during the recruitment process and how they align to that. And yes, a lot of people can come with smart answers, but it's the reality and the truth of who they are and how that represents itself in that vision statement or that strategic intent statement related to the work that they do. So it's the whole translating it to what it is that I'm doing. And it's revealing sometimes in the recruitment process that what it is that they value about a particular vision that makes them excited to come to work.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know about you, but do you find that people really consider this stuff this early on? I know some businesses do and they're really great at it, but I find most organizations it's a bit of a afterthought, or even at the point
Yes.
of onboarding. What's your thoughts?
Yes. I think, oh, we just need a body to fill this role.
Yeah.
Let's hire, oh yeah, the CV looks great. Let's do that and hire this person. And then the behavioral attributes don't align to the culture at all. And the same concept about previous things we've spoken about. A curriculum vitae is a curriculum vitae. It's a display of craft and skill set and experience that you have. But we need to separate the bias and judgment of that versus who the person is and what it is that their values are that they bring, and what are some of the examples where they've inspired someone else or helped someone else in a previous role, or have been part of a team that have succeeded in a particular objective in a business, and what it is that their role is that they specifically played, to almost identify some of the behavior and the behavioral attributes that they bring to that. And if those align to our culture and our business, because CV is something that could be taught potentially, behavior is something that could just pull the whole team out of kilter.
Yeah, I love that. So when we talk about that inspiration piece, right, let's go to the challenge. I'm thinking, what is the challenge around this and how we communicate that? Like, how do we make it inspiring to everybody, right? Like, how do we communicate that inspiration, that energy? Like, because that can be lost in translation.
Yes. So the objective, I suppose, isn't to inspire everybody, because you're not going to do that.
Let's get
The
real.
objective is to align what it is that that individual's doing to the strategic intent and the direction of travel that we're in, and how it helps them create a great environment in their team for a good, comfortable working environment.
Yeah.
And everybody's beating the drum and getting inspired by that. It doesn't float my boat. But what I do like is the excitement it's creating with other people in my team, and I kind of, feel a little bit, fuzzy when I work with that, or I get the buzz, or it doesn't work for me. But secretly, something's triggering them to actually work differently. And there's a big difference between someone that just complies to something and someone that commits to something. And that's the shift that we're trying to get to, is shifting people from complying to committing. And there's an output difference there that we know about.
And I think there's how it's communicated plays a huge role in this, isn't it? Like, that clarity piece is so important. So you're getting the right message from the top, but how do we ensure that that right message is communicated and translated to each layer and each level? So we've almost got a responsibility at each layer to ensure that that's translated correctly, isn't it? So that also comes with providing your managers with the right information, the right tools to communicate it, but also the right skills to be able to speak to an individual and meet them where they are to help them see how it applies to them, because that can be a really tricky piece, can't it?
Yeah. And at your peril, don't do onboarding. The organizations that are succeeding from a cultural fit perspective, from a behavioral fit perspective, have a thorough onboarding process.
Yeah.
Whether it's a day, depending on the size of your organization, whether it's 5 days, doesn't matter of the rank that you come into the business. We put everybody together to demonstrate values, to get strategic alignment, have a discussion about the role that you're coming in as managing director, or coming in as financial director, or coming in as commercial director, and the sales team or the associate in the sales team, and having a discussion between those two people about how their roles and the work that they do aligns to the vision, is an awesome 15-minute discussion for everybody to see during an onboarding process.
Yeah.
It just changes the whole dynamic.
Yeah. So what's the barriers do you think, to, if someone's listening and they go, yeah, completely get it, we need to start somewhere, like, where are the barriers and the challenges they're going to come up with? Because if they've already got a team in place, how do they overcome that? How do they know if they've got a problem? Because I suppose, how do we test that what's coming from the top is meeting whatever's going out to the wider business, right?
Yeah. It's so two things, and it's a norm, it's a theme that and a pattern that I'm seeing these days: time and assumption. And so, from a time perspective, we can't take our eye off the ball. We need to just get all this stuff out the door. We need to sell our products. We need to get all this marketing campaigns out. We need to deliver for our clients. We don't have time to onboard you properly. Just try and fit into the slipstream. And yes, we'll teach you as you go. And then fingers crossed, hope for the best. Yeah. Or great interview. Guy, values are so aligned to us. I'm sure he's going to just hit the ground running, or she's going to hit the ground running as soon as they come into our business. And then it doesn't happen. And then they wonder why, because there's been no onboarding. There's been no integration. There's been no giving them time just to settle into the culture and bring their own strengths to your already existing strong culture, and creating opportunities for that. So those are the two things I think sometimes trip people up.
And I think something else that I see quite a lot when we try it depends how big your organization is, but I also see a lot of cultural challenges around translating what that vision and purpose is, depending on where you are, what your silo, how they operate, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I love the culture conversation. And there's an aspirational culture, and then there's a real culture. And a lot of leaders are talking aspirational culture, and we do this and we do that. And then when you speak to the people on the ground, we don't do that at all.
That's not my experience in this organization.
What I'm sensing. And it's actually having a discussion.
We've all been there. We've all been there.
Yeah. And then it's having the discussion about what's the gap between aspirational culture and actual culture, and how can we make that shift happen? And then represent that. You know what? We don't get things out on time. We fail, I would say, 20% of the time. But when we succeed, it is transformational. And so that's the reality of the culture of our delivery of sales, or our delivery of projects. And then let's talk about that. And I think with artificial intelligence coming in now, everybody feeling threatened because they haven't even explored it for themselves yet. They haven't even downloaded Gemini or ChatGPT and played around in it and stuff like that, and then offer up in a perspective of, oh, I feel threatened by this. It's the embracing of this change that's happening, because it's coming down the line whether we like it or not. And I believe that is going to change a lot of cultural perspectives of how we do work.
Yeah.
But as we know, not a lot of people like change.
And there's so much in there. I think the AI conversation needs to be a session on its own, because I just think it has so much potential and impact on every aspect of organizations, and I think culture is one of them. But something that I took away from that, which it can be implemented immediately, I think, for people listening, is around the feedback and the measurement of feedback. Like, how are we ensuring that our communication of strategic intent has been delivered and implemented? What are we seeing happening in the finance department, in the sales department, in the marketing department, that demonstrates and measures that we've got it right?
Yeah, that's the piece, the two-way communication piece that I've got as one of the elements here. And in that two-way communication piece, feedback is an awesome piece of information. It's the how strongly is it true is normally the reaction and response that we have. Not, oh, it's dinging my ego. Oh, it's contradicting what I said, and so I need to fight back. It's not a combative situation we find ourselves in. It is a discussion with a difference of opinion and an exchange of ideas. And as soon as we see it as that, or an opportunity to have a discussion with someone, then now it becomes a richer discussion around that. We don't have time for that, Guy. Thank you for coming in, and we know you're here for 6 months. But you need at least another 6 months before you can offer up your point of view. Is a deflating statement, and I wouldn't be surprised if in 30 days that person has joined your competitor.
Yes. So it's about a couple of things from a really practical perspective. It's how you communicate, how you gather the feedback, which is really important. I think really practically how you communicate to people, we know need to be different. We know different people consume information differently. So there's a really practical element to communicate, but also on that feedback piece, how are we gathering that? Is it on multiple layers? Is it at one-to-ones? Is it through anonymous questionnaires? Is it like, are we getting a real sense of reality there? And you're right, everybody that we give a seat at the table to, opinions matter, right? Like, whether you're in this organization for 6 months or 6 years, surely they come with some rich wisdom and experience that we can tap into, is my thought process on that.
Yeah. And so every single line manager you have in your business is your pot of gold. Get those guys tactically up to speed, skillfully from a behavioral perspective, being able to have difficult conversations, understanding emotional intelligence. The line manager or leader or frontline manager or people manager, whatever you tag them as, in your business is your critical key for success. And those are the guys that you need to be able to, and sorry, I use guys as a multi-gender term. Those are the people that you need to look after and get to a place where they are your superstars in the business.
Yes, 100% completely agree. So let's summarize what we've got for today then. So what have we got around communicating strategic intent? Clarity on what it is, for a start. That comes from the top.
Yeah, we're going to be doing that.
So clarity, making sure that as leaders, as the board, like however big or small your business is, you have clear intent and direction, and you know what it is. Communicating it effectively across the business, understanding how we communicate that, how it applies to individuals in all areas of the business, gathering feedback and making sure that we are ensuring whatever we are communicating is landing and is implemented and is effective. Because I think that also helps that forced upon us piece, doesn't it? That feedback, inclusive, we collaborative. So anything else that you would add?
Yeah, so be honest is the other piece. In other words, with the feedback, yes, we didn't succeed, or yes, it didn't work for us. And be honest with that as leaders in the business and pivot, make the changes that are required. But I would also say another key element, which is a fourth element here, is consistency. Be consistent in your messaging and in the way that you deliver the work, so that everybody can see that you're doing the work behind the talking.
Yes, that consistency is key, isn't it? Because if we see leaders flip-flopping from one to the next, it's not consistent. No one's ever going to buy into that direction. So that's a massive one. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of our session for today, but we're back next week and we're talking all around coaching skills for managers next week, because just for everyone listening, if you haven't seen on any of our socials, our leadership, our little coaching accreditation doors are open. We are onboarding for our November cohort. This is our IOL approved business coaching accreditation, which has had incredible feedback. If you are at all interested in putting your managers or leaders through a coaching accreditation, do reach out. Check out our website for more information. But we will be back next week. Tienie, thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you, Kirsty. It's always interesting, and I like how you refine what I say, because I can just go off on a tangent, so I appreciate that.
Fabulous. Always a pleasure.